get to the show.
All right, so we all love basketball. We all love sports, but we need to talk about the NBA's ratings are down. They're down 28% this year, but truthfully, they've been declining year after year for the last 4 years. So we're gonna talk about that. Let's pull up the clip and we'll go from there.
Decades. I've been a passionate NBA superfan following every season without fail.
All the way to the hoop. Scoop to the hoop with a foul. Point 71 and 72.
Basketball is more than just a sport for me. It's a way of life. And honestly, I can't imagine a world without Steph Curry draining impossible threes, LeBron James crying to the refs, or watching freakishly athletic players defy gravity.
He just evaporated the Kings defense.
Lately, however, there's been a lot of buzz about the NBA losing its grip in the world of entertainment.
LeBron is divisive. He makes the game unattractive.
NBA Finals numbers down massively.
Ladies and gentlemen, the truth is, viewership is declining, fans are tuning out, and honestly, the numbers don't lie. Ratings have dropped a staggering 48% since 2012 and 28% just this year on ESPN alone. Meanwhile, other sports leagues are breaking.
Yikes.
All right, TR. So let's spit some theories out here right now. Two questions for you. A, are you still rocking with the NBA as much as you used to? And B, what are your theories on why their ratings are starting to tank?
Yeah, honestly, the only time I really watch basketball, it's definitely after football. So football is king for the most part. And then also I'll watch it on the holidays because, Thanksgiving game, Christmas game. Generally, I watch that, but there's really not a whole lot that's going on those days. So it just gets turned on by default. And then after the football season, I might catch a game here and there, but it's probably going to be at a bar or something because, I don't have cable. So I'm not going to buy any the YouTube package or whatever to watch any of those games or the NBA, whatever the on-demand package they call it. So I'm not going to do any of that. But I think for the most part, is the super teams that's killing the NBA. And then also the activism, because everybody wants to act like this activism thing has been around or it's helping the league. And it really isn't, because it's one of those things where they've gone too far on the activism. And it's one thing where you just want to hey, this is for cancer awareness. These folks, they're calling everyone, if they're doing the whole knee thing. And then also they're out there if you say something wrong, if you're white, if you say something wrong, you're going to get called out for, and it jumps in the news cycle for the last few days. And then the last thing that's creating this issue for the NBA is because of those phantom fouls or those weird fouls. Actually, I'll say two things: the fouls and the traveling. I think those are the two things that are really killing the NBA, because I saw a weird foul recently that was trending with I forget who they were playing, but it was old boy in the 76ers. And it was like a weird, Joel Embiid. Yeah, there we go. I was like, well, he didn't get the foul. Somebody else that got the foul, and then they rescinded the foul. And it's and Joel Embiid went trending. He trended for another reason after the foul was initiated, but it was like a weird, situation, and that's been happening for a while.
Yeah, I want to start with the activism first, because the difference between the NFL's activism and the NBA's is the NBA endorsed what the players were doing. The NFL did not. So I hate using the term woke. I know that's your word, but the NBA went all in with BLM and a lot of other things that made people feel some type of way. And I think we need to call out what the initial purpose of sports is supposed to be, right? Mm-hmm. And this is what some of these athletes seem to forget. Life is hard. You know what I'm saying? We go to work, we deal with things outside the homes, we come home, we deal with stuff. For a lot of us, watching a good basketball game or a football game, it's an escape. It's a way to just clear my mind for a little bit and just relax and enjoy something. But when you start getting the political side of things involved, and then you start pissing off certain groups of people, I think Adam Silver is a huge advocate for the alphabet community, and he's trying to integrate that in certain ways into the league, and they're not reading the room. Um, from a political side, I'll speak to that. Now, for the game itself, and now mind you, basketball was my first love, but eventually that football took its place. I am a Detroit Pistons fan. I've been one since the days of the Bad Boys. I'm also a Shaq and Penny fan. So when Shaq and Penny played together, I rocked with them. But one of the things that's also affecting it is the players jumping from team to team all the time. If you support players, that's fine. But if you like support a team, especially a small market team, there's essentially no chance for you to win anything. I mean, Denver kind of set themselves up to be a powerhouse. Denver's a smaller market compared to the others, but ultimately, I personally think that there are forces that want to see the Knicks and the Lakers and the Celtics and those larger city teams constantly competing because they want those viewers. That's one thing. And then the other thing is the NBA is, in my opinion, has kind of gotten away from. It's a little less strategic. It's basically screen and roll, screen and isolate, shoot a three. Yeah. There's not really a good post game right now. They kind of essentially eliminated the 5 position. Most of the centers in the league now are shooting threes. They don't want to box out. They don't want to post up. Yeah. And I know some people, they call it the Steph Curry effect. Like Steph Curry came into the league just hitting these impossible threes. Now everybody else thinks they can do it. And I don't know if this is a sustainable model. And load management is something else that's pissing off a lot of people. People are starting to question, are these athletes really hurt, or are they just doing load management? Because there's not as much physical contact as football, though there is physical contact. I think fans are calling that out, and they're calling things like that into question. And the last point I'll make before I give it back to you, I just posted an article. So for a long time, basketball was we know football's king in America. Basketball was number 2 for a very long time, up until that year 2012 that he mentioned in that clip. They've been surpassed by baseball. Baseball popularity is picking back up again, which was surprising to see. And soccer's on the rise too. So the NBA's got to figure something out.
Yeah, let me pull that up here. Thing. Yep. So, which I would baseball. That's not surprising to me, just because of when getting to the World Series. I mean, it's everywhere. But I mean, as far as like the games, I don't know how much people are like really watching. But when the World Series is here, or when the playoffs are here, people are definitely watching. So, there's a lot of a lot of energy. It was the Yankees, and the Yankees lost, but I forgot who they played. But I mean, people on watching that game from the start, and when the Yankees started moving, that gets everyone eyeballs on the TV. So either you love them or you hate them. So you're gonna watch probably most of the World Series, or at least the playoffs within a minute. So, and the other thing with the NBA is it's almost predictable who's going to be in the in the playoffs, or at least who's going to be competing with the championship as well too. And for a long time we had like a LeBron James and a Golden State team, which that rivalry was good for the most part, because obviously Golden State didn't win every time they played against LeBron. But then it got a point where they're like, yeah, we're winning every single one after that, or at least the next 2. So it's there's definitely a point where the jumping from team to team, or at least the camaraderie, is a little bit different though, because there's no bad blood. Everyone's buddy. Everybody does podcasts together. At which you see a lot of players doing a lot of podcasts too, because they're just it could be a little more lucrative, even though they're not good at it, unfortunately. Who's that dude? I forgot his name. Dang it.
Well, I know DeMar DeRozan just started one.
DeMar DeRozan. That's a terror. Oh, okay. Look, I won't say it's a terrible podcast. It's
that Malika Andrews is a terrible person. He interviewed her. That was his most recent.
Oh, dang. I wanted to cover that too, actually.
We can circle back to it later, but I do want to add something to the rivalry point, because I think that's a big deal too. Me being a Pistons fan, in the 90s, it was hate the Lakers, hate the Celtics, hate the Bulls. And I have a bunch of friends that are Bulls fans, and I'll try to trash talk them when the Bulls and the Pistons play. Well, one of them told me flat out, man, this ain't meant nothing since 1991. Stop it. Let it go. Like you need rivalries. Like I know when the Steelers and the Ravens play, they don't like each other. I know anybody who plays the Cowboys, that's going to be a team that they hate each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They can shake hands after the game, but during the game, oh no, this is a rivalry. Let's go. Let's get it in. Even college football, you know, has your rivals. Nebraska has Iowa, Arizona State, etc. But that doesn't exist in the NBA. Like you said, they're all super friends now.
Yeah, yeah. And the reffing is another thing too, because it's been a while since we've seen someone go after a ref. And Joel Embiid definitely crashed out. He should not have been crashing out over that ref, which was a woman. But I was a little bit curious on. I knew women had been reffing for at least the 2000s at some point. But starting in 2020, they actually added about several refs to their reffing. And so, that kind of lines up with when the game started to decline. I'm not blaming them completely, but whatever changes they've been making has not been helping the NBA. So this exclusivity and making sure we got women that are reffing the games, that stuff is not helping, nor do the fans care as much. The only time it's a thing is when a player is upset with a ref. And like I said, she said she made a mistake. Like there's a clipped up version where she said out loud, like, hey, I effed up. But Joel Embiid should not have been crashing out over something like that, though. He had to be restrained. I'm like, man, Joel, come on. This ain't it.
I must have missed that. So this was a woman ref, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So that's problematic for this reason. Are we putting the kid gloves on with her like we did with Kamala Harris when she was running for president, or is she gonna get the same critiques and smoke that other refs get when players are pissed at them?
Well, when you see a giant basketball player go after a smaller ref, and some people are going to go to the color dynamic there too. But anytime it's a man and it's a woman, everyone's going to spring into action. Everybody's putting their capes on, and I'm sure Joel Embiid wasn't going to do anything. He was upset about the call, which she had some bad calls that night. So, and I'm sure he would. I mean, we've seen him do the men refs as well too, but these guys were springing into action. They probably could have got injured trying to keep Joel Embiid back, but at the end of the day, the NBA has no one to blame but themselves, because this whole activism crap, you can see the NFL, like you said earlier, NFL didn't listen to their players. Well, they listen to their players to a degree, because you still have that end racism BS in end zones. I'm like, that doesn't do anything. Like, if you want to be helpful, stick to the cancer research conversations or the Cancer Foundation.
That was a compromise. That the players wanted that, and the league was like, all right, as long as y'all ain't kneeling, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll put that knees on.
But that's just players. And I'm starting to learn is that, or notice is that players like the NFL, their NBA, they don't know how to negotiate anything. Like, oh, you're going to allow us, or we're going to allow. We want you to put words on the end zone, because that's going to make an impact. That's going to make a difference. Like, just terrible negotiating. Like, they did nothing to really, if you wanted to move the needle or something, I guess you can, come out of pocket for something, or maybe create a defense fund for people that were wrongfully convicted or something. I'm not saying I do all that, save the world crap though, but what did they accomplish? They didn't accomplish anything. So to me, it was just hollow words, hollow action. Like, I remember when LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and pretty much the whole Heat staff, they went overboard on the Trayvon Martin thing. And I know there are people with different sides on it though, but again, what was the lasting impact on that? I think they just like to, be seen doing something good for the world, but not really doing anything.
Yeah, and I'll conclude with this. I just posted another article from the Sports Business Journal. So Adam Silver doesn't seem to be worried about this. And his argument for it is attendance at the games themselves are on the rise. He believes that it's just finding the viewers on the correct platforms. He wants to fade away from traditional cable TV and do more things like Amazon and Netflix. So
yeah, which they are doing.
Yeah, and Netflix fumbled the Tyson fight. So I don't trust them to do NFL or NBA games at this point. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, because to me the NBA is regressing like the WNBA. because in terms of viewership and getting in their own way. Because before that, I mean, we would never say the NBA is going to have a problem, but when you're starting to lose airtime to baseball and, you know, not hockey yet, but when it's starting to get there and in WNBA, who knows what'll happen there, because they definitely have a problem. Anytime they try to make money, they try to, you know, get rid of the money, but or try not to, you know, keep the deal. But yeah, we'll see what Adam Silver does, but I can tell you, who was the previous commissioner? Was it Stern?
David Stern, yeah.
David Stern. He's got to be rolling in his grave. He's like, all you had to do is not mess this up. That's essentially all he had to do. And he's just been kind of messing this up, especially with like LeBron. LeBron hasn't been helpful for the league either. As much as he's been, you know, with the whole Bronny James thing, that's not really helping the league out at all.
Not at all. And Gilbert Arenas talks about this on occasion too. And one of the things that he brought up was the NBA has like gone all in with the European players in the softer style of defense that they play over there. Ironically, Gilbert Arenas, who's known for his offense, is talking about defense. So there's all kinds of theories out here. Hopefully they work it out, man. I love basketball.
You know, one more thing I wonder if they can try, I was thinking about this too, is that maybe they can get rid of the offensive 3 seconds. Or the lane violations, I guess.
Rumor is they only put that in because of Shaq, because he was just so dominant. So no Shaq's in the league right now. So that's an interesting thought. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I said something earlier about the traveling. When you fall into the traveling, you know, the algos, they start sending you in everything. Now I'm questioning what really is a travel.
Yeah. I officiate high school basketball, and I have mentors who have, you know, done college and professional, and they tell me, if you ever want to officiate in the NBA, there's political things to consider. Essentially, the top players, you got to, I don't want to say favoritism, but you got to be a bit more mindful to keep them in the game because they sell tickets. And many referees that I work with have admitted that they don't like the way travels are called in the NBA. And that's why they don't want to aspire to go there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Next topic.
Over the